Okay, I'm going to get started. We are recording, so those that don't make it on time can always check in later. We have around 23 people registered, so I'm sure some more will hop in over the next few minutes. Um, I'm April Harrington, the project manager of the Chicagoland Healthcare Workforce Collaborative. We are here to do our third in our career pathway programs across the nation learning series. We are very honored and grateful to have Ochsner Health come and present their partnership with Rivet School. I'm really excited about this opportunity to help frontline employees advance into non-clinical healthcare roles. And I will introduce them more in just a moment. If you're just joining, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. For anyone who's unfamiliar with the Chicagoland Healthcare Workforce Collaborative, we are an employer-led group that is supported by our industry partners, including training providers, community organizations, advocates, and funders. And we are all coming together to support a more inclusive healthcare workforce, provide inroads and break down barriers for specific local and targeted populations, bridge the gap between our education providers and our healthcare employers, so that we may innovate in the ways that we are preparing people for our in-demand roles. And what we're here to talk about today is how we might support retention and career pathways, so that we aren't just bringing people into the front line, but we are making sure that they have accessible opportunities to advance, move into our in-demand roles, and stay within our systems. Here are some of the partners. We are employer-led, as I said. 6 of these employers sit on our steering committee, and we are supported by a breadth of wonderful strategic partners, including training providers, community organizations, and others. This is our third in the Career Pathway Programs Across the Nation series. CHWC is primarily a peer learning space, and we value coming together as Chicago systems to talk to our peers about what they're observing on the ground, what's working for them, what's not. But we also know that there are really interesting things going on in other regions that we might not be trying here yet. So that's what this series is all about. It's the third, and it is not the last. There may be 3 more in the new year. They have not been scheduled yet, but keep an eye out. I'm going to put a link in the chat to our events page, where you can always find recordings of our events, as well as the slide decks, and look out for upcoming events. So the recording for this event, plus the slides, should be on the website and accessible to you by tomorrow, Friday at the latest. If you've registered for this event, I will also email them to you. If you are a CHWC member, there are a few upcoming events to know about. First, there's an in-person meeting of the Youth Pathways Committee. This is the joint committee with the Public Health Workforce Collaborative. It's in person. It's run by my colleague, Matt McClintock. If you are not engaged with that committee and you would like to be, shoot me an email and I'll connect you with Matt. We have our final quarterly of the year on December 10th, 8:30 to 10 a.m. It's virtual. Registration should be on that page I just sent you. And then we have a sister table, the Public Health Workforce Collaborative, that also has a December quarterly meeting. Excuse me. If you'd like to get engaged with that group, my colleague Anna Yankolev runs that. So just shoot me an email and I'll connect you with her. Oh, forgive me. I don't know why I'm nervous. I do these all the time. I am really grateful today to have Ochsner Health and Rivet School join us. Nora Maxwell is the Chief Growth Officer at Rivet. Andrea Roussel is the Director of the Ochsner Career Center at Ochsner Health. She has a variety of programs in the Career Center that we'll hear a little bit about, but we're going to be focused mostly on Rivet School. With that, I'd first like to open it up to to everyone here to share what are the top challenges you face in supporting your frontline staff with upskilling. So you can put this in the chat or just come off mute. We are a small enough group. What are you seeing on the ground?
Hey everyone, guess I'll speak on behalf of the U Chicago Medicine Group, just in the short time that I've been here. So I'm sure the other folks will be able to speak a little bit more to what they see. But just in meeting with some of the departments like radiology, for example, um, and some of that upscaling, I think some of the challenges that we've seen has been a lot of just time and capacity. Um, I think there's a lot of interest, but if someone's already working a full-time job within the organization, then it would take, staff time, within that organization, within that department to train them, to cross-train them, to provide those skills, and then additional staff time, who are interested in upskilling to learn that cross skills, to learn that upskilling, or to learn the additional, tools for getting promoted or learning something else that might be require additional time outside of their full-time schedule.
And that reflects what Candace is also sharing in the chat. It's about schedules for the person who is looking to advance, also about the capacity of our teams that are supporting our frontline employees, whether those are the supervisors themselves or HR teams, learning and development teams. Anything else that people are seeing? Classes, accommodating, particularly when the upskilling is part of a formal education. Many programs have classes that are Monday through Friday during the workday, which can be difficult for working adults, especially working adults who might be working third shift. Burnout of preceptors. Really good point, Amy. And that's something that I've heard from our clinical programs is in order for them to, train more people for our in-demand occupations, they need more preceptors. But it's hard for us to recruit more preceptors, especially when we need them on the floor, and burnout also is a factor there. Anything else anybody wants to share? I'm going to stop sharing my screen and kick it over to Nora Maxwell from Rivet School to tell us a little bit about Rivet and to also introduce Andrea.
Thank you so much. Just give me 1 second to share my screen.
Take your time. Long-term investment. Yeah, a lot of, as Claire's sharing in the chat, a lot of advancement, especially in the healthcare setting, requires going back to school, more certifications, degrees, and that can take a long time.
Oh, 1 second, I think. Are you seeing a black screen on my side?
With script in the middle, but yes.
All right, 1 second.
Nora, if you're having any trouble, April can also enable me to share my screen.
Thank you. I think I'm good. Let me just make
Okay.
sure that you all can see this. Try again here.
There
Okay.
we go.
Look okay?
Yes.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you for your patience, everybody. All right, you see my face on this slide? We're good? Okay, wonderful. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon here with us. My name is Nora, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Rivet School. I was a part of the founding team back in 2019, and for the last 6 years have worked to find and enroll great fit students for our program by partnering with employers in order to help more folks unlock advancement and economic opportunity through a college degree. My fun fact is that I spent the last 5 years living in the Bay Area and just moved back to Chicago a few months ago. I did that with my husband and my 8-week-old daughter in tow. Don't recommend moving with a newborn if you can avoid it, but I really am so happy to be back here in Chicago and get to do the great work that we're doing at Rivet School back in my home state. So I'm excited to share with you all today about our work here at Rivet School. We are a nonprofit and we help employers upskill, develop, and retain their talent. So the healthcare industry faces a pressing set of challenges, from an aging population to pandemic-induced resignation. And as you all know, healthcare organizations have a critical need to attract and retain diverse, high-quality talent. So we here at Rivet School work alongside healthcare organizations to provide an efficient, affordable, flexible pathway to upskilling for non-degree holding, non-clinical staff members. So Rivet School empowers working adults to earn an associate or a bachelor's degree as efficiently and affordably as possible. So partnering with Rivet School can help upskill your team in ways like, improved employee retention, decreased hiring and turnover costs, improved soft skills for your employees, internal promotions, and saving your employer on training costs. And I'll say this a few times throughout, but to be clear, this is completely free to you as the employer. So at Rivet School, we are proud to offer access to Southern New Hampshire University's competency-based education program in partnership with the one-on-one coaching and the wraparound support that we offer at Rivet School. So Rivet School students succeed and advance because we have designed the program with their needs and with the employer's needs really at the center of the experience. So healthcare employers inform the curriculum to make sure that it is relevant, specific, and that the soft skills that they're looking for in their team members are baked into every assignment that people will complete. And students have the flexibility to work at their own pace and to work from wherever they want to and whenever they want to. It is a competency-based, project-based degree program. So that means that as soon as students demonstrate mastery of a project and a skill, they are able to advance within the degree program. And what this means is that students can graduate in as little as 2 to 3 years. And I know we were just talking about the fact that it can be challenging to accommodate additional upskilling opportunities as working adults. And to be clear, Rivet School was really designed for working adults. What we like to say is that it's okay for folks in our program to have college be their third priority. Number 1 is their family, number 2 is their job, and number 3 can be college. And our program is built with that in mind. Now, the associates and the bachelors in healthcare management at Rivet School prepare health sector professionals with the skills and the knowledge sought by leading healthcare organizations to support a growing industry. So students explore how healthcare managers, administrators, and executives plan, make decisions about, and coordinate health services for the populations that they serve. Students will also master those soft skills I mentioned in effective professional communication, community engagement, critical thinking, and decision-making. And these are all things that will obviously help them grow as healthcare professionals. So the all-in annual student cost is $7,000 a year with no extra fees. We facilitate access to federal financial aid, including the Pell Grant. And with the Pell Grant, that can reduce out-of-pocket monthly costs for students to as little as $0 a month. And we also connect our students with interest-free loans, scholarships, and other responsible financing solutions. And again, Rivet School is no additional cost to employer partners. So what we often hear from employers is that they can teach their employees the technical skills specific to their organization, but they often lack the time and the resources to really cultivate the soft skills that they're looking for in their employees that would allow them to advance within the organization. So honing and demonstrating the mastery of these soft skills is really baked into every aspect of Southern New Hampshire's curriculum. So through the bachelor's degree in healthcare management, as you can see on the slide, these are some examples of some of the skills that your employees will be mastering throughout the course of their degree. And then these skills can obviously go on to unlock that next role for them within their organization, including things like being a healthcare project manager or a medical office administrator. So what does partnership with Rivet School look like? Obviously, Andrea's going to talk a lot about that in our next section, along with the great work that they're already doing. But on our side, we partner with healthcare systems and organizations that are committed to investing in their employees' growth. So our approach allows employer partners to choose options for partnerships that really meet their organizational needs. We pride ourselves on building positive, collaborative relationships with our employer partners where roles on both sides are really clear. So partnering with Rivet School can look a lot of different ways, but really at a minimum, what we're asking is to be able to get in touch with the staff on your side that don't have degrees and might be interested in Rivet School. So some specific examples of what that actually could look like in partnership: we could co-host info sessions for interested employees. We would create collateral and the email blurbs. We will facilitate the session. And on your end, we'd ask you to share out that information ahead of time. We could co-host an info session to supervisors or to leadership specifically, where we are equipping those leaders to be able to talk about Rivet School and refer great fit folks into the program. We enroll new students every 2 months, so we can also send deadline reminder emails out that you can share on with your team members or post within newsletters or on your intranet. And in exchange for your partnership, we really aim to help you advance your key talent development goals with as little lift on your end as possible. Now, while Chicago is a new market for us, as we were founded in California, we have had a lot of success in healthcare in the Gulf South and the West Coast, and this offers a strong foundation for our work ahead. And at Ochsner alone, we have served over 75 employees thus far. So we hope that you find the stories of our graduates that are pictured on this slide, Lauren, Bernice, Cynthia, as inspiring as we do. Something we're particularly proud of is that the degrees our students are accomplishing are really not ends unto themselves. Rather, they're a means to more rewarding careers and better economic futures, both for our graduates and also for their families. On average, our Gulf South healthcare graduates have seen earnings increase in about 23% after they graduate with an associate's degree, and an additional 28% after they graduate with a bachelor's degree. So our employer partners, and two are pictured here, often describe partnering with Rivet School as a no-brainer, which I love, just like Missy Hobson did, who is the VP of Talent Management at Ochsner Health. We really work to do the heavy lifting for your organization, designing a partnership that is built around your needs and goals and delivered in a way that's really plug and play for you. And our employers also love hearing their employees' updates and success stories as they progress through our program. We work with our employer partners to spotlight their employee successes and to help them identify hiring opportunities as folks begin to graduate from Rivet School. Now, on this slide, you'll see some data that points to the really clear ROI for graduates of Rivet School, of course. For example, the fact that across our program, graduates experience an average 25% increase in wages after they graduate. But I do really want to hit on the ROI for you as the employer, too. At Ochsner, they've experienced 100% employee retention for those employees who are enrolled at Rivet School. And 75% of Rivet School students are on track to graduate compared to just 49% of low-income students across the country, which means that you really can count on your staff succeeding in the program. And as the employer, you can count on the ROI for your company, knowing that Rivet School is tailored by design for the real needs of your organization. And we do really hold ourselves accountable to our students' experience in our program, as shown by our Net Promoter Score of 87, and that is considered world-class. So those who are enrolled at Rivet School love our program, are succeeding in our program, and then are unlocking better careers and salaries as a result. So we at Rivet School partner with leaders just like you to meet your organization's goals. We will customize the process and offer high-touch support as your staff explores, applies, and persists toward their career goals and your upskilling and talent needs. I'm going to pass it over to Andrea in just a second. I just want to call out on the screen, you can see our email, partnerships@rivetschool.org, and also a QR code that if you scan will take you right to our website. If you could just add in your first, last name and the organization that you are at, it'll make sure that we can get back in touch with you after the session is over. So now I will pass it over to Andrea, who is here from Ochsner Health, who will talk about the fantastic work that she and her team are doing at Ochsner's Career Center.
Thanks, Nora. Hi, everyone. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, yes. Just making sure. Thank you for this time to share. And I was reading in the chat when you were kind of all putting your hot topics. We experienced the same thing. So we, started our partnership with Rivet about 3 years ago. You saw my boss, Missy Hobson, and her face up there. She is the brainchild of a lot of, I'll share slides in a little bit about sort of our department and everything that we do here at Ochsner. But she really is sort of the steering point for a lot of workforce development and educational options. So again, we were feeling the same thing that you were feeling at your organizations. It is hard to help frontline entry-level individuals that might have 1 or 2 jobs, that have a family, and realistically, they just can't fathom how are you going to go to school and do all that on top of it. So Rivet really does give you the opportunity to do it at your own pace. And that's our biggest selling point. The partnership that we have with the Rivet individuals, along with the coaches that our students have. So we have a partnership with the coaches at Rivet on top of my career coaches that I have on my team. So it really is, a 360 support for these individuals, and they can do it on their own time. One of our great success stories that we always share is her name is Candace. She graduated last year and she's in Northern Louisiana. She's a mother of 3 children. Her husband's a firefighter, and she got her degree in 18 months, which is just, I don't know how she did it, but she did it. And so kudos to her because she was able to do it on her own time. So you're not bound by, I have to be at class at 8 o'clock or I have to have this due. Like you really do get that one-on-one with the Rivet coaches that help you along the way. And one of the stories that stuck out, I was lucky enough to attend an in-person graduation this summer. And one of the graduates was talking about how the relationship that they had with their coach and how, she could call him at any time. He met her on weekends at the coffee shops. So it really is such a, geared specifically to that student. You are not a number. And I know that that means a lot for our staff, and we're happy to help promote the program. We have other partnerships with other schools, a lot of local Louisiana schools, but nothing that is quite like Rivet. And we really do, like Nora was saying, we had over 75. I think we have 50 currently enrolled. We've had over 20 that have graduated in that, 3 years that we've had the partnership, which is just phenomenal. And we love to share that internally too. So just like how they had the little pictures and the snapshots, we do that every few months and just kind of, bring it back up, because I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but if our employees actually see other employees that are accomplishing these feats, then it kind of helps them, to start it out. We have a great tuition reimbursement program. So I think that's a huge selling option too for Rivet is you can, try it out before you buy it. Louisiana, if anybody knows anything about us, we're always on the top of the worst list and the bottom of the best list. So we have a lot of employees that are, making $12 or not much more. And so it really is important that we are there to help support them as much as we can financially. So to be able to say, you can try this out for a few weeks, see how it works with your lifestyle, with your family, that is huge. It really is, because so many of them just stop when they see the price, or, I can't do this. And so to be able to give the support from the Rivet coaches and their staff, and then also our staff too. So I can't say enough about the partnership, the flexibility of the hours. It really has been a game changer for us. And, Nora was talking about the different ways that we help to promote. I mean, I think every few months we kind of do what we call talent talks. We invite our staff and clients for the Career Center. Nora, Amy, and the team, they come on. We do about 45 minutes. It's so easy, but again, to hear it from the staff, they really are your partner. We do on-site promotions too. So if we have different we call them pep rallies. in events. They'll show up just to meet our employees and answer any questions that they have. So as far as a partnership, it's probably one of the strongest that we have from our educational partners. And I can't say enough about it. We work with them, with the coaches too, like every month with our student employees to figure out what they want to hear about, whether it's something internal with Ochsner, like our mentoring program, or if it's just what are you struggling with? And let's get this group together, just to talk and help to be there for each other. So I appreciate you sharing, your time so we can share our story. It is one of the things that we're proud of, is the opportunity that Ochsner has given my team and department to help our employees and continue their career at Ochsner, and it's not just a job. So yes, they see the monetary increases with their salary, but what it does for their family. And especially, Amy was at the graduation with us this summer, and to see all of the family members, the parents, the aunts and uncles, and the children come and watch these individuals that may not have had the opportunity to get a college degree. I'm a nitty baby anyway, but it made me cry because it really is life-changing. So I appreciate the partnership. I look forward to working with them in the future. They are stuck with us at Ochsner Health, and we just want to continue growing our numbers. I'd love to share a little bit too about the organization, if I'm able to do that. Can I share my slides?
You should have
Okay.
permission.
Okay, can y'all see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, good. You never know sometimes when you got like 3 screens going on. So I am part of talent management here at Ochsner Health. We consist of, 3 different areas. We like to attract, retain, and develop. We call it like the inside and outside. So I've got partners that work in workforce development and what we call emergent talent. We start meeting with students when they're in junior high, just to kind of introduce what healthcare looks like, the different roles. You don't have to be a nurse or a doctor. I have no clinical background. And I've been with the organization for 10 years. So that's sort of an overview of what our talent management looks like. We really are here to help, like I said, promote early career pathways, diversify the healthcare workforce. We want to make sure that our employees and our different clinics and hospitals represent our communities. So we have a huge community outreach and community education department also. And then one of the reasons our partnership with Rivet is to help remove some of the barriers of of getting an education and helping educate people on their choices. I think a lot of times, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people go, oh, well, I want to go, I saw the commercial for this and it's a for-profit, and that's all that they see if they hear it on TV or on the radio. So we really take it to heart to help them understand, what they're even looking for. Are they doing it because they need skills to get to a role that they're looking for, or they just need to make more money? So we really try to understand where they're coming from and helping them along that way. This is a 2023 snapshot of just everything that we've accomplished within our department. Some things that I'm very proud of is we have a mentoring program, and so we help to match individual contributors with leaders to help them on their journey, whether it's through education or just networking. Another program I'm very proud of is our Nurse Scholars program. I'll talk about that also later on, but you can kind of see our 3 teams at the pre-apprenticeship. So we start with them at an early age, workforce development, and then once we actually get them in the system, that's where my team takes over with the Career Center. So we have career coaches that work with any employee. It's a free service. One thing that I'm very excited about, I didn't put in the slides because it hasn't even started yet, is I'm hiring a social worker and a community health worker, also part of my team. So those will be free services too for our employees. So not only can we help that individual find their next step within the organization, but let's say they are struggling with food insecurities. It could be a domestic issue at home, transportation. So we're really trying to make sure that, we're taking care of them in every aspect of their life. So that way that when they are at work, they don't have to worry about those outside issues that may be bothering them and affecting them, and could be affecting, their performance at work, if they're showing up on time and things like that. So one of our programs that my team created this past year is we have some great workforce development, like some apprenticeship programs. We were the first organization in the US to have a respiratory therapy program. But a lot of times when people reach out to us, they're like, oh, I'm interested in this program. Well, it's all based on the need in the regions that we have and obviously the funding that we receive. So we don't want those people just to drop off and then forget about us. So we created something called Amplify. So we work with them, our career coaches from my team work with them to continue, whether that's partnering with Rivet or maybe just internally attending some professional development, some soft skill training that we do within the organization to help them. So that way, when that apprenticeship or program does start, they're ready to go. And we've kept in contact with them and making sure that they still are committed to Ochsner and knowing that we're there for them also. So some of the goals of my career center, I have 2 coaches. We have close to 40,000 employees at Ochsner Health. We're all throughout Louisiana, Mississippi. Got a little footprint in the panhandle of Florida now and North Carolina. So we're definitely expanding. And we want to make sure, as I'm sure all of you know, being in healthcare, we don't sit in front of our computers and read our emails every day. So my team really tries to go out there to meet the staff. If we are able to get there in person, that's even better. If not, we do it virtually to help them figure out what their next step is and how to get there. A lot of times they just don't know what roles are about. If you think of something like IS, we have 900 people in our IS department, but I can't even tell you how many teams we have within that. So for somebody that might enjoy coding, but not really know what that is, our coaches can help partner with some job shadowing and discovery calls with those team members just to help the individuals understand before they go and apply for 100 jobs. Because if you are in HR, if we see clients that apply for 100, 200 jobs, it kind of red flags, and it can hinder their pursuit of finding that career at Ochsner. So really what we do at our career coaching sessions, the first one's a meet and greet, understanding who you are, what you're looking for, and how we can help you. We really do try to stress too that it's in your hands as the employee. So we are here to help guide you, give you the resources, but it really is up to you to do your homework. And anything, if we tell you to network, go and join those resource groups and join the other professional associations that can help you along the way. And then obviously our corporate education, you can see Rivets right there on the top. We do partner with other schools that are local in Louisiana and some in Mississippi, but Rivet's really one of our top priorities that we focus on when we talk with our clients. We have a great reimbursement too, a tuition reimbursement program. If you're a full-time employee, you'll get reimbursed up to $3,000. And then my team also, like the coaches, will work with employees on external resources too, scholarships and grants to kind of help cover anything else that they may need. I just wanted to highlight this again because we're bringing on a social worker and community health worker. We really feel like taking care of the whole being is the most important thing. So these are things that we offer. We have an EAP, so you can get up to 5 free sessions with a counselor for you or a family member. We've got Cabana, which now we have at certain locations, Cabana pods. So you can go into like this cocoon. And if you need to call somebody, you can. Or if it's just a quiet space to help meditate for a while, you can do that also. So really trying to look at how we can help people sort of just unplug and making sure that, as a healthcare worker, it's just so fast paced and it's 24/7. How can we help you to stop and take a breath? One of the things I just attended last week was a resilience course. It's an in-person course and it's great because it was a lot of interaction between your coworkers. So just understanding how we all deal with stress. And especially, I think majority of us are female on this call. It's not easy being in healthcare. I think very proud of Ochsner and our number of female executive leaders and our BIPOC leaders, but we do realize that that is not the norm. And so we have to keep chipping away to get up there. This was the program I'm very proud of, which is Scholars. We started this around the same time as we started our partnership with Rivet. Sort of along the same lines, we realized that a lot of our nursing staff was aging out. They were retiring. And then, of course, in 2020, we all know what happened. So it became even more prevalent to get this program off and running. So it's a financial assistance program that we offered. Started with nursing, but now we have athletic trainers, rad tech, surge tech, and med lab tech. So we help you go to school financially. And then once you graduate, you come back and work at an Ochsner facility. The timeline depends on how long you're in the program. These numbers actually haven't even been updated because we just added 100 more, or about to. We're sending out the offer letters this week. And we have 174 that have already placed within the organization. So this is very near and dear to me because I get to see the changes in real time and the staff that we get to add. So great program. It's anyone for ADN, LPN, BSN, and then, like I said, allied health now too. And then we have a mentoring program. I think this is so important that people share their knowledge and their experience and how easy it is. And we had 80 relationships in 2023. I'm proud to say we have over 200 now. So if I can get a little bit more before the end of the year, I think that's great. I always try to tell people it's the easiest meeting you'll ever have. You don't have to create slides. You don't have to bring any data. You just show up and share your experience. So that is just a little bit about what I do at Ochsner Health. I appreciate you giving me the time, and happy to answer any questions about any of our programs, and then especially our relationship with Rivet.
Andrea and Nora, thank you so much. Everyone, my name is Amy Barrett again. I am the interim director of partnerships at Rivet School. And prior to doing this, I founded a program very similar to Rivet School in Louisiana that has since joined forces with Rivet School. So Andrea and I have been partnering for several years, and just really wanted to take a minute to thank both of you again. We're going to move into Q&A, and I would love to kick us off with Q&A to ask a question of both of you. I'll start with you, Nora. Love to hear a little more about what the partnership with Ochsner kind of looks like in operation. How did it come to be? If you could walk us through that a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrea can feel free to chime in too as the one doing it on the Ochsner side of things. But yeah, as we mentioned, we did begin this partnership about 3 years ago, originally in partnership with Missy Hobson, who we mentioned, who is their VP of Talent Development. And at the time, she had surfaced a real, what felt like on her end, a void for opportunities for non-clinical employees specifically, and especially those that felt flexible enough to accommodate the real needs and the real lives of the people that she had in mind, people that she saw had potential to enter into management, administration positions, but were lacking some of those soft skills again, and or other experiences that would allow them to progress into that type of role. And we heard from her at the time that their team on their end felt very confident, already had the resources and infrastructure in place to be delivering the sort of technical skill development that they needed specifically at their organization, but that soft skill side of things like management, like decision-making, like critical thinking, those are things that are just generally harder to teach, and especially to do so on limited time and with limited resource. And so we felt like there was a real alignment between what Ochsner was looking for and what we were able to offer. And so again, what we do on our side is really try to craft sort of a playbook plan for your organization based on what we're hearing, those types of things. You know, where are the pain points? What are the goals? And then how can we slot in to help address that? What is really effective, and is the case with Ochsner, is when there is already infrastructure in place, whatever that looks like. It's as simple as a newsletter to as sophisticated as the Career Center at Ochsner. We can slot in with what you're doing and amplify the good work that's already happening. And so some specific examples, we talked about the talent talks, info sessions, featured on Ochsner's intranet. We run campaigns on their bright signs, so their digital advertising boards across their campuses. Of course, they have career coaches, and we equip them with information about Rivet School so that they are also knowledgeable and can share and refer people into the program. And even do things like networking events for folks who are currently enrolled at Rivet School and looking for that next step at Ochsner. Very, very tactically, what that looks like is typically we're meeting about once a month with Andrea. People flex that up and down depending on what we have going in the partnership, what we're currently working on. But we could typically check in, see what's going on, what do we want to do moving forward. And also, like I mentioned, really like to take that time to shout out a lot of what's already happening in the program. So they have, again, currently right now about 50 staff members who aren't enrolled at Rivet School. Where are people in their degree progress? Who's approaching graduation? Who might you have your eye on for a specific role? We'll let you know, okay, they're about 6 months away from graduation. How can we help set them up for that next step at your organization? And we've done things like work, for example, with their creative services team on the marketing side to make sure everything's in alignment with what they're looking for. So yeah, our goal is to make it a pretty low lift on your end to slot in where you need us. And again, to amplify the great work that's already happening. Andrea, feel free to chime in if there's anything else you would add, but Amy, thanks for the question.
I definitely agree with the low lift. They do everything for you. So the only thing that I really have to do is, send it to our Marcom team to get it put into our Inside Ochsner app or add it to a newsletter, add it to our bright sign. And then another great thing about our checkpoints is if there is an employee that is struggling, we know about it in real time. And so if the Rivet coach maybe has a concern about someone who is, we deal with hurricanes all the time. So I know during Hurricane Ida that we had, which was, pretty traumatic to our area a couple of years ago, we had individuals that had to stop to focus on their families and their homes. So to have that partnership to talk in real time with the Rivet coach and with our career coaches to help our employees is huge, because we made sure that they didn't just drop off. We made sure to check in with them. And I will say the coaches from Rivet did that. And that, for your emotional well-being, means so much when you're trying to rebuild your home, and making sure you might have to be traveling to bring your kids to a different school because their school is closed because it was destroyed. So little things like that, I think, are huge selling points too, is that you get that one-on-one. And I know somebody was asking about what the ratio is for a coach to students. So I know Nora and Amy could probably say more about that. But yeah, we have 100% retention right now with our Rivet graduates, which is huge. That, and we make sure to stay in touch with these individuals too, because we always want to share their stories too. So we do check-ins and make sure. But yeah, I think that part of it, it's an easy lift for the healthcare organization. It really is.
Thank you both so much. Claire asked a series of great questions in the chat. Claire, do you want me to voice those over, or would you like to? I don't want to speak for you if you'd prefer to.
No, you're good. Sorry, I was just creating bullets as you all are talking. So one of my questions, yes, was just the ratio of coach to student. Just curious, kind of like what that caseload is like for the coach.
Yes, and that's at Rivet School specifically, Claire, are you asking?
Yes.
Yeah. Our caseload is about 30 to 45 students per coach. And so we intentionally create really small caseloads for our coaches so that they are able to provide really individualized, high touch support to the students that they work with. So typically folks are meeting with their coach once a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on student need. But it is, by design, a small caseload because we think that's a really important part of the program experience.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you. And then my second question, sorry if I'm taking up all these questions, was just to learn more about the degree. So I understood and heard that it was non-clinical, specifically for healthcare management. And just what are, like, with your employer partners, what are some of the positions that maybe students might start in versus end in? Kind of what does that progression look like, and the wage increase look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I can speak sort of generally, and then maybe Andrea, if you want to just shout out some specific examples, if you have any top of mind, don't want to put you on the spot here, but We began actually at Ochsner targeting patient access, reps, billers, and schedulers, and have since expanded into things like environmental services, nutrition or food services. And those folks have gone on typically to move into management or administrator roles. I'll say that a number of our employers have said that not necessarily a linear path that folks are taking. So they are moving into a position with more responsibility, again, a manager or administrator role, not necessarily on the same track that they were on, potentially switching across different departments. But typically that scope is kind of the level that we're seeing in terms of increase. We've also heard sometimes it's people moving from a manager role into a director role. And that director role is typically one in which people have degrees, even if it's not explicitly required. It's kind of the norm at the organization. Andrea, I don't know if you want to share anything specific about what you've seen.
Yeah, so we purposely started with those specific departments at Ochsner because we were doing some research. They were high turnover. We were trying to figure out, how can we help these individuals? What is it that we're missing? And so to Nora's point, we started with a lot of the rev cycle, EVS. We see a lot of admins that are coming through. And it's been, they've all, well, I don't want to say all, for the majority, they've all seen an increase in their salary. Like Nora was saying, it's not so much, immediate into leadership, but it's a path where they're getting the experience and the network that they need. But we've gotten, supervisors and managers now that are coming into the program to get their degrees. So still the majority, I think, is those entry level, the rev cycle, IS department, EVS, food and nutrition. But yes, I forgot my train of thought after that one. So sorry.
No, that was super helpful. Thank you so much. And then my last question, but again, I want to save some time for other questions. So feel free to put this in the chat too. Just on cost. So I think I heard that, for employers, it's no cost associated. And then at least just speaking on behalf of University of Chicago Medicine, there's a great tuition reimbursement program. So Andrea, I heard you on that. So my goal is to really push that through. So how much would it be, for students to consider?
Yeah, absolutely. A number of our employers do offer tuition support or reimbursement, and it is not a necessity for partnership, but it is so incredibly helpful to the employees and to our students. So it's really exciting to hear that's something that you all offer. All in tuition yearly is $7,000. Tuition is set through Southern New Hampshire to be in line with Pell Grant. The Pell Grant is a free grant from the government that does not need to be paid back. And currently it's about $7,300. So our tuition is set in line with that, such that if somebody qualifies for 100% of Pell, they will not pay any out-of-pocket costs for the program. That is who our program is designed for. We do offer, as a part of the application into Rivet School, a financial planning process with one-on-one support from our admissions team. So for folks who are interested and eligible, they will complete the FAFSA to see what type of aid that they qualify for, and they'll work with the admission specialist to craft a responsible financing plan to make sure that this is the right step financially for them. If they're able to access tuition support or reimbursement, even better. And that is something that our team is trained on, to know our different employers, what they offer, how that student needs to go about requesting the reimbursement, and they actually receive support with that on our end. So we try to make that a really seamless sort of, all around approach for them. So it is $7,000 all in. The one thing I'll also say is that our program, again, since it's project-based, competency-based, you pay 4 terms. So there are 3 terms a year, and you're kind of paying for access to the program, because in that term, you can complete as many projects as you are able to in that time. And then you sign up for another term. So it's different than a traditional college where you might need to be in, 4 years worth of college to earn your degree. In this case, it's as fast as you're able to complete is as fast as you'll go and as little as you'll pay. So, it's actually about $2,100 a term is how it's set up. Sorry, $2,300 a term.
Great. Thank you so much.
Candace, do you want to voice over your question?
Sure. My question was, how did you recruit for your mentors, and what were the expectations that you set for them?
Yeah, thank you for that. So our expectations are not high as far as the requirements. We ask that you have been with the organization for at least 1 year, and you're not on progressive discipline, obviously, if you're going to be sharing your experience and mentoring individuals. Otherwise, we really leave it up to the mentor and the mentee. We don't set expectations as how far often, as often as you meet, but really is what that mentee is looking for. I know in my current mentor relationship that I have with my mentee, we meet every 3 weeks for 45 minutes. So we leave that up to the two individuals to figure that out. As far as recruiting, we have a great internal newsletters and app that we use. So we work a lot with our Marcom team to kind of push every few months. Here's the QR code, sign up. We've got a great application software that you go in and you sign up and you kind of touch upon like what you're an expert in. And then if you're the mentee, what you're looking for. So we match you on that site. It would send you an email saying, hello, Candace, Andrea is looking to, start a mentor relationship with you. Do you accept or do you decline? We know times get, kind of crazy if you have a project that's going on at the time. So it could be that you decline at that time, but then we talk to that mentee to say, hey, okay, let's find you someone else on the site. So it's not just, ghosting someone. We do help them with the next step. But it really is word of mouth, a lot like our career coaching. We go to a lot of different staff meetings, CNO, leader meetings at different facilities to help spread the word. Because I think, again, when you're talking to and sharing personal experiences, it's the best way versus you're getting an email. Sometimes you might pay attention, or you could be like the majority of us in multitasking. So I think a lot of it's just kind of boots on the ground. But I'm happy, to connect afterwards if you have any other questions, and I can show you our platform.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure.
I know I have several other questions that I can continue peppering Andrea and Nora with, but I wanted to just invite anyone to share initial reactions and or additional questions before I continue to hog the mic.
Hello, everyone. I'll ask a question. My name is Shonda Morris. I'm from Loyola Medicine. And my question is really around, because I think I heard this a couple times, like Rivet has a relationship with another school, right? Like, where's the accreditation in this process? Because I think I heard that, but not a lot. But explain that piece.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great question. So we are partnered with Southern New Hampshire University. That is our degree partner, and that's where we actually offer the academic experience through. And so it's a partnership with Southern New Hampshire where folks can actually only access this project-based degree program through community partners like a Rivet School. They are a nonprofit, regionally accredited university, which is the highest level of accreditation. And that means you can go on to use your degree, and your degree will say Southern New Hampshire University, to apply to a master's program, to go on to different schooling. It is, widely recognized across the country.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Great question.
I just want to chime in and encourage our Chicagoland employers to give this a shot, especially because it's of no cost to you. The only ask is to put the program in front of your employees. Why not see who takes interest? And you've heard it from Andrea that I think employees really appreciate being offered something like this, even if it's not for them, even if they don't succeed. They like hearing that others succeed. They like seeing that their employer cares and puts these sort of opportunities in front of them. And I know that these administrative roles are not the ones we're constantly talking about within CHWC because our shortages in clinical roles are so dire. And this is not a clinical program, but if you care about, the racial diversity of people at your managerial level, if you care about giving your frontline folks who are often people of color opportunities to advance into programs that they actually want to advance into, then this makes a whole lot of sense to me. That's just my 2 cents. And word of encouragement for our partners to follow up with Rivet. Any last minute questions or? Thanks, Chris. Awesome. Claire's interested.
Yay. Nora, I was just wondering in our couple remaining minutes, given that so many people cited like scheduling and time and managing those resources, if you could just emphasize again, how the student experience is so asynchronous.
Yeah, absolutely. It is kind of a fundamental part of our programs. I think it's a really good part to reiterate. It is totally asynchronous, entirely online, and entirely project-based. That means there are no synchronous classes where you have to log on at a certain time. There are also no tests or exams, which means there's no way you can fail in the program. The program is set up on a project-based system, which means you've either mastered a project or you've not yet mastered it. And if you haven't yet mastered it, you get to resubmit until you do master it. So, there's a whole lot of the work we do at Rivet School, we call anti-racism and equity, that is really baked into our program. And part of this is combating a lot of the shame that students who are coming into our program feel from not being successful in previous higher ed experiences through no fault of their own, largely because a lot of colleges were not built for what we call a real life student, which is one with many priorities, working full time, has kids, just has a lot on their plate. And so the project-based nature is key to the student's experience of Rivet School, and it's also key to the fact that it is a very flexible program. So you're able to log on after work when your kids are asleep, on the weekends for an hour from the coffee shop, during your lunch break for 30 minutes, and just plug away on the projects you're working on and make progress a little bit at a time towards your degree. As a part of that coaching relationship as well, our coaches work really closely with students to actually pull up their calendar and say, okay, here's your week, here's what you've already committed to, where can we slot in 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours here to make steady progress towards your degree. And they actually help them track, if you work at this pace every week for the whole year, how many years it's going to take you to get a degree. And is that in line with what you're hoping to do? So it is very supported and it's very flexible. It also means it can be very accelerated. It really is kind of a choose your own adventure for the student.
Well, we're almost at time, but thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing your incredible career center. I will be following up with you about a
Please
couple
do.
of things, particularly the respiratory therapy apprenticeship. Oh, I love it.
Exactly. You are not alone.
Yes, I know. We'll figure it out, Claire. Thank you so much to the Rivet team, to Nora and Amy and Lila. Thank you for bringing this incredible partnership to our table. I truly hope to see some of our Chicago partners take you up on it. Thank you for everyone's time. And for anyone here, the recording and the slides will be up on the website by the end of the week, so you can share with your colleagues. And it will, I will email it to you by the end of the week, and then it will be up on the website. And if you're a CHWC, please come to our December 10th quarterly meeting, 8:30 to 10 a.m. And look out for future career pathway programs across the nation series in the new year. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
If
you
you're
so
in
much.
Chicago, take it easy in the snow tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.